The boy's name was Miguel Santos, and before the world ever heard his voice, he was just another invisible child walking barefoot through the narrow streets of Cebu. Every morning before the sun rose, Miguel helped his mother sell rice cakes near the bus terminal. The smell of fuel mixed with the heat of the pavement, and the sound of engines drowned out most dreams. Miguel was 12 years old, thin, shy, and carrying more weight in his heart than most adults ever would. Miguel's father had once been a fisherman, strong and proud, but a violent storm took both his boat and his life when Miguel was only 6. Since then, survival became the family's only goal. School was a luxury, meals were uncertain, and hope was something Miguel learned to hide so it wouldn't hurt too much when it disappeared. Music entered Miguel's life by accident. One evening, while collecting discarded bottles near a tourist cafe, he heard a song drifting through the open door. It was Hotel California. He didn't understand all the English words, but something about the melody felt heavy, mysterious, and sad in a beautiful way. The guitar sounded like it was crying, and the singer's voice felt like a man trapped between regret and longing. Miguel stood outside the cafe until the song ended, not realizing tears were falling down his face. From that night on, Miguel searched for that song wherever he could. Sometimes it came from old radios, sometimes from tourists playing music on their phones. He began humming it while working, memorizing the sounds even when he didn't know the meaning. To Miguel, the song felt like his own story. A place you can never truly leave, no matter how much you want to. Miguel's guitar was not bought in a store. It was found in a trash pile behind a closed music shop, missing 2 strings and cracked along the side. His uncle helped him fix it with fishing wire and glue. Every night, Miguel practiced until his fingers bled. He practiced under streetlights, in empty alleys, and sometimes on the beach, letting the ocean carry his voice away. Years passed, and Miguel grew taller, but life did not grow easier. His mother fell ill, and medical bills pushed them further into debt. There were nights Miguel went to sleep hungry, holding his guitar like it was the only thing keeping him together. Many times, he thought about quitting music. It didn't pay, it didn't feed anyone, and it didn't fix broken lives. But every time he sang Hotel California, something inside him refused to give up. One afternoon, everything changed. A local teacher recorded Miguel singing at a small charity event and posted the video online. The sound quality was poor, the lighting uneven, but the emotion in Miguel's voice was undeniable. People began sharing it, first in the Philippines, then overseas. Comments poured in from strangers saying his voice gave them chills, that they felt his pain even without understanding his life. Weeks later, an email arrived that Miguel thought was a joke. It was an invitation to audition for an international talent show. The idea of flying to another country felt impossible. Miguel had never been on a plane, never left his island, never imagined standing in front of judges whose faces were known around the world. Through donations and the support of strangers, Miguel and his mother made the journey. When he stepped onto the stage for the first time, the lights were blinding. The audience was loud, the room massive. Judges sat behind a long table, including Simon Cowell, known for his brutal honesty and stone-cold reactions. Simon barely looked up when Miguel introduced himself. Another kid with a dream, another sob story, another hopeful voice. That's what Simon expected. Miguel's accent was strong, his clothes simple, his hands shaking as he held the guitar. When Simon asked why he chose to sing Hotel California, Miguel took a deep breath. He said the song felt like his life. A place that looks beautiful from the outside but hides pain inside. A place you can check out from, but you can never really leave. The room grew quiet. The first guitar notes rang out, soft and imperfect. Then Miguel began to sing. His voice was raw, haunting, and painfully honest. It didn't sound trained, it sounded lived in. Every word carried years of loss, hunger, and quiet endurance. The audience stopped breathing. The judges leaned forward. Simon's expression changed. As Miguel reached the chorus, his voice cracked slightly, not from lack of skill, but from emotion. Instead of ruining the performance, it made it unforgettable. The song no longer belonged to the Eagles. It belonged to a boy who had survived storms far worse than the one described in the lyrics. Halfway through the song, Simon looked down. His eyes were wet. By the final note, the entire audience was on its feet. Some were crying openly. The silence after the song lasted longer than the applause. Simon wiped his face and stood up slowly. He said he had heard that song hundreds of times, but never like this. He said Miguel didn't just sing it, he lived it. Then came the twist no one expected. Simon pressed the golden buzzer. Golden confetti fell from the ceiling as Miguel collapsed to his knees, overwhelmed. He didn't scream. He didn't jump. He cried. He cried for his father, his mother, his childhood, and for the dream he never thought was allowed to exist. Backstage, Miguel learned that his performance had already gone viral in the United States. Millions watched within hours. Music legends reacted. Celebrities shared the clip. Fans called his voice unforgettable, real, and healing. But the journey wasn't over. In the next round, Miguel struggled. The pressure was enormous. Critics questioned whether his first performance was a one-time miracle. Online comments turned harsh. Some said he was only famous because of his story. Others said he could never top Hotel California. Miguel almost quit. The night before his next performance, he sat alone, holding his guitar, thinking about going home. Then he received a message from his mother. She said no matter what happened, she was proud. She said his father would be proud too. Miguel returned to the stage stronger. He sang not to impress, but to survive. Each performance peeled back another layer of his soul. Week after week, he proved he was not a moment, but a movement. The finale arrived, and Miguel stood once again under the lights, no longer a poor boy from Cebu, but a symbol of hope for millions. When asked what he wanted most, he said he wanted to build a house for his mother and help kids like him believe their voices mattered. Whether he won or not almost didn't matter anymore. His life had already changed. Music schools offered scholarships. Record labels called. But more importantly, children from poor neighborhoods around the world saw themselves in Miguel. Simon Cowell later said Miguel reminded him why he fell in love with music in the first place. Not perfection, not fame, but truth. Miguel's story is not just about a song or a stage. It is about what happens when pain meets purpose, when talent meets opportunity, and when the world finally listens to a voice it once ignored. And somewhere in Cebu, under the same sky where Miguel once practiced barefoot, another child is singing, believing that maybe, just maybe, dreams can escape even the hardest places.